Hello everyone, this is Edward Reyes coming to you from Russia. And today we're going to look at a video where a Russian girl talks about the stereotypes associated with Russian girls. So let's go to that now.
Russian stereotypes, truth or myth? The man should be slightly better looking than a monkey. Well, yes. For us, looks kind of going after others, much more important characteristics, such as achievement and status.
Okay, so she's pretty much saying do looks matter? She's saying not really, that Russian girls look more at status. I do want to mention a few things about that you have to look at a girl's age too, and pretty much where she's at and what she's looking for. Is she looking for a short-term relationship, or is she looking for a long-term relationship? I think as far as wanting a high-value man, I think that goes more towards the women that want a long-term relationship, maybe marriage and children. But that's true in pretty much for most parts of the world. But what makes Russia different here is that, well, there are quite a few things. Okay, the first thing is the level of beauty, the percentage of women, the proportion of women that are classified as beautiful. That number is considerably high. In other words, the question is, are Russian women more beautiful than other women in other parts of the world, especially in when compared to Western women? Okay, so I mean, that's something that has to be discussed, and the answer for the most part is yes. There's a high percentage of beautiful women in Russia. So I mean, even if you're not that great looking, or as far as your income, if it's not that high, but think about it as well. When you make dollars and you live in Russia, those dollars go a long way, right? So as far as you becoming a high level man, and then your chances here will increase. All right, it's achievable here. Okay, but also let's look at what other people think about Russian women. By the way, hold on, give me a second. And I'm sure you guys seen this. I don't know if you guys seen this. I'll go ahead and do the give credit. Okay, so this is from Good Morning Britain, and this person here, some of you guys know him. I believe he is pretty popular. His name is Richard, if I'm not mistaken, Laurina. But let's go ahead and look at this video here, and I'll make sure it has the volume. That's okay. Let's go ahead and raise the volume. Let's hit play. Let's see what he has to say about Russian women.
Very successful in England, very, very successful. But I noticed that every time I saw a beautiful woman and went to talk to her, where are you from? Oh, Sweden. Oh, Russia.
There's
oh,
no
the
beautiful
Ukraine.
women in the UK.
No, there are,
I
for
think
sure.
that's
A lot of them are foreign in London, and it's just comparatively, there are way more in Russia. So, you walk down Oxford Street, you see a few beautiful women, many of them are foreign. You walk down the equivalent street in Moscow, it's like, my God, they're everywhere.
Do you think there were any other...
Yeah, that's true. If you go to Russia, you're going to see beautiful women everywhere you go. Just going back to whether they want a high-value man, and I could say this from experience, that I remember when I first came to Russia, my first year. I have talked about my father's company. We had a charter bus company. And I remember in 2017. I remember we lost some contracts, and what did that mean for me? It meant that I would lose 66% of my income. So at that time, I wasn't practicing law. Yeah, I was relying mostly on that income, so I did not have a lot of money. So just to lose everything like that, whoa, 66% is a substantial amount. But I still had a beautiful girlfriend at the time, right? So don't think that. I mean, the Russian women prefer a high value man with status, like the young lady said, right? But in actuality, and when it comes down to living day to day, right? That's not always the case, as I mentioned before. And let me show you guys another video here. And this one is a video of life in Russia. This is from, I believe, Rio, Russia. Let me click on this. But before I do, let me make sure I'm not okay. I'm not blocking the screen. Look at the. I mean, this goes on in Russia. Look at the beautiful woman, and let's just look. Yeah, and you notice how, again, there are many single women. I don't mean to say that they're single. They're not in a relationship. I don't know that. What I do know is that you see a lot of females in groups. That's very common. Okay, let's go back to that video about the stereotypes. Let's see. And let me make sure I have the whole audio on. Okay, I'll deal with the audio later.
Russians are used to the cold, so they never get cold. Bullshit. Well, guys, we're definitely able to feel cold, so next time think twice before asking a Russian, why are you getting cold? You're Russian. Expect to eat punch.
Okay, yes, that is true. You would think, hey, Russian girls, they live here, and sometimes it gets cold, especially in Siberia, where I used to live. Yeah, some girls would tell me, I hate this weather. And I would be a little shocked. I thought that all Russian girls right like cold weather, but that is not true. The weather, especially in Siberia, again, it's something else, you guys. My first winter there, yeah, it got to minus 46. And I do remember going out with my buddy from the USA, and yeah, I remember one particular night. I had boots on and my feet were cold. So, it's just indescribable. But after a while, you start learning how to dress. So they have a saying here that there's not bad weather, there's only bad clothes. And I do remember I used to go to the gym at that time, and I used to catch a bus. And I remember that I had some gloves, those black gloves from, like, they're cotton. They're like famous in Los Angeles. And I brought those with me. And I think that's the first time where I experienced like minus 19 degrees. And I had my gloves on. And the bus took a while to get there. And the bus finally arrived, and my hands were still super cold. And then when the bus came to a stop, I arrived at my exit. I remember I started running towards the home because my hands were that cold. I mean, they were burning. I remember that. And I had to turn on the stove and just kind of heat my hands and get the sensation back. So, yeah, just keep that in mind, that it does get really cold here. Okay, let's keep reviewing this video. And let me see there if I could no. I can't turn the volume up. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at the next stereotype.
Russians have a stronger gender roles. Oh yes, baby, yes. We expecting you to be initiative, to plan the date ahead, to just tell us date, time, and place. So, to pay for a date, of course, and drive us back home. The last stereotype is...
Okay, so let me discuss that. Let me make some comments there. I do remember, yeah, so the gender roles are very well defined here. I remember I forgot who I was with, but we started asking girls whether well, who's the leader in the relationship. And most girls, I think all of them said the man. The man is the leader, and the woman is the follower. And we're like, you don't mind being the follower? They were like, no, we don't mind that at all, right? Because again, that's how they were raised. And I remember, oh, by the way, she said the taxi, something about a taxi, like, or going back together, right? Or just dropping them off, whatever. In Russia, don't worry about like having a car. You don't need that. There's the equivalent of Uber, which would be Yandex. So Yandex Taxi, and you can pretty much you would still have to order the taxi for your date, whatever destination that may be, and then what you do is you just share the link. There's a link, and then she could keep track of when the taxi arrives. So I know there are some Americans that I believe you could get a driver's license in Russia with a driver's license from the United States. That's possible, but I'm not interested in that. I like getting taxis. And I do remember when they were partying with some girls. It was me and my friend, my American friend. Notice how I say friend. I just don't want to. I don't want to say any names. And one of the girls there was like, we asked her like, what kind of guys do you like, or what kind of guys don't you like? And she said she doesn't like nice guys. And we were kind of like shocked. All right, they like guys that take control. That's just because again, that's how the culture here in Russia is. It's defined by strong gender roles. The man plays his role, the woman plays her role. And that also goes back to the role of the woman. Again, the woman, well, you usually know how to cook, and you have to watch out for that, because it might be a situation where you ask your significant other, your girlfriend or your fiance, hey, I want something, I want to eat this, and she'll actually make it. So whether it's something like a breakfast burrito, like I love breakfast burritos, and I think I asked her to do one for me. And I think I was joking somewhat, because we had food, we had salad and soup, and I think we had fish, and I just said, hey, can you make me a breakfast burrito? I mean, I was ready to eat the fish and all that, and then next thing you know, it's right there, right? So you just gotta watch out as far as your weight is concerned. Let's go to the next video. Let's see. Stereotypes are very... Okay, let's just hit play here.
Are very direct. Well, yes, but don't misunderstand it with being rude. Thank you. Russian
Okay.
stereotype.
So she's saying that Russians are very direct. I think that is true. People from the United States or from the Western countries have a reputation of being very polite. I'll give you an example. Like when I was hopping on a taxi with my girlfriend at the time, and I told the driver, I said, thank you. And then the young lady told me, she says, you don't need to say that. She's like, you say that too many times, right? So you hop on a taxi, you say hello, and then when you get dropped off, it's okay if you say thank you. But being overly polite, like in the United States, that's something that you just don't want to be too polite. It's just customary. It's not to say that you want to be rude. Another stereotype that I had of Russian women when I was a child was the strong, like she said, it's not because they're sounding rude. To me, growing up as a child, it did the Russian voice, or the stereotype of the Russian voice speaking English, right, was very aggressive. Why? Because of the programming of the mainstream media. I'll give you an example of that. I remember watching, for some of you guys don't remember this, but there was a TV show, there was a cartoon. It was called Rocky and Bullwinkle. And Rocky and Bullwinkle, were the heroes of the story. They would save the day, and of course they had villains, and some of those villains were they sounded like Russians. They had Russian names. The creators, they didn't say specifically that they were from Russia. It was kind of this made up country. But to me, that was like, it was like a kind of like a warning, they were trying to program me to not, right, to kind of see Russia as evil people. Let's watch a video clip. Let's see, Rocky and Bullwinkle. Give me a second here. There it is. There's Natasha right there. Look. So I'm gonna hit play, and yeah, listen to her voice. Listen to how she sounds, and they're doing something evil.
There must be something really rotten we can do today.
I'm thinking, but the worst I come up with is helping to make Moose and Squirrel show 1 hour longer.
Oh, just like you, darling. Always trying to help others get a little more pain out of life.
Then suddenly a thought struck him like a 20,000-volt charge.
Boris, you have great idea.
No, but I have defective cordon electric pencil sharpener.
I have it, darling. A contest. I like being evil because, in 25 words or less.
I like it.
You see, I like being evil. So Boris and Natasha. I mean, classic Russian names. So, yeah, I mean, how did I... Yeah, so that kind of stayed in me. That Russian woman had that aggressive tone in their voice. But, of course, I didn't... of course, I kind of had my own... I developed my own thoughts about the Russian tone. You could say I don't conform. When I was growing up, when I was in middle school, I remember I did not like school, and I would actually hop the fence. I would ditch during school hours, and I would go to the library, and I would just read what I wanted to read. So, I mean, of course, I follow the law, of course, but at the same time, I'm very careful not to conform, not to just kind of blindly follow the crowd. I think in fact that's dangerous. Okay, well, yeah, because you just can't take someone's. You got to do your own research. You have to do that. You can't be gullible. It's not a good thing. Okay, folks. So hope you enjoyed this video, and until soon.